July of 2015, my colleague Joaquin Zuleta and I traveled through Bolivia by motorcycle looking for colonial art in remote areas. There's me, leaving the Isla del Pescado on the Uyuni salt flat, riding my trusty Honda CGL 125, which I had ridden from Santiago de Chile through Argentina all the way to Bolivia, and which I would ride back to Santiago de Chile soon after, a round trip of 6,500 kilometers. Several days earlier, our project took an exciting turn as we were stuck in Potosi due to a blockade. We had entered Potosi with its legendary Silver Mountain on July 10th to find that a community of citizens had locked down the city with roadblocks. After 5 days in the city, which suffered from shortages in food and gasoline, we decided to press on. Here's us, leaving at the break of day, having a hard time ascending the steep streets of Potosi with our underpowered and overloaded 125cc motorcycles. There's roadblocks everywhere. We see the remnants of burnt tires and the traces of dynamite explosions that we have been hearing at night. Car wrecks and rocks are used to block the streets, and there's no traffic at all. I had decided to film the escape, as we had been told that it would be nearly impossible and that the miners would not let us leave the city. Having left the valley, we came to the main road to Sucre, only to run into a long line of parked trucks, which hadn't been able to leave the city. At this point, we were stopped by a group of miners. Some of them hurled rocks. Several of them appeared quite drunk. My colleague, who's a communicative chap, managed to get what appeared to be a leader to come and talk to us. These men reiterated the demands of the civic committee and the reason for the uprising. Potosi, the silver city that had financed the Spanish Golden Age and continues to supply the world with natural resources, wants a greater share in the benefits of these natural resources. The civic committee demands a first-rate hospital, an international airport, lower tax burdens. And they want to discuss these demands with Evo Morales, the president. However, Evo Morales refuses to talk to the committee and responds with a media campaign which implies that the uprising is the result of foreign interference with Bolivian affairs. While both Joaquin and I talked to the miners, several other of the miners continued to shout, "Fuera carajos!" Out, damn it. And I have to calm one particularly angry man who proposes to cut my tires so I wouldn't be able to leave the city. And I implore him to remain tranquilo, quiet, tranquilo. After several minutes, it becomes quite clear that the men won't let us pass, and the conversation is starting to repeat itself. So we decide to return. A union man, somewhat further down the road, calls the drunk mob a disgrace, but he can't tell us whether the next shift would let us pass. A man running down the mountain tells us that there are some train tracks further on that could possibly allow us to ride out of the city. We find the train tracks and follow them. And as all over Bolivia, wild dogs appear out of nowhere, barking at the motorcycles. All along the tracks, we see people walking and carrying supplies into the city. After approximately 15 kilometers, we leave the tracks returning to the main road, hoping to have cleared the blockades. However, this was not the case, so we tried to avoid further roadblocks by taking detours into the back country. As always, the nature is stunningly beautiful, and we enjoyed the off-road part to Off-Road Scholarship. The small path past the ravine challenges the traveling motorcyclist with vertigo. At some point, a washed out road forces us to return to the main road. Back on the main road, we hear from some locals that there are at least 15 kilometers of roadblocks ahead. And this is at a point where we are already almost 30 kilometers out of the city. We managed to tackle these last roadblocks mostly by surprise. We drive past them, or we drive through them. We have a quick chat, but we don't stay for long. And mostly the people manning the roadblocks are surprised by the fact that we are there at all.
Mira, de Holanda.
¿Todo bien?
Sí, sí, sí. Todo tranquilo. Sí. Nosotros vamos al extranjero a informar qué está pasando aquí. Sí.
This goes on until we are more than 40 kilometers out of the city and shows the severity of the situation. And it makes us understand that for the duration of the month of the blockade, more than 100 tourists were stuck in the city. Having passed the final blockade, my colleague Joaquin and I celebrate the fact that we've managed to leave the city and pursue our journey. However, we also reflect on the fact that for the roughly 400,000 Potosinos, the situation is not one that they can leave.